of other industry players, how their whole cost structure was? Would you say it's sort of in line with the rest, or were you spending? No. Okay.
So you have to, we're talking about the beads, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The bead products are way less. If you think about it, they're really competing with essentially the pharmaceutical market. They're not. These are devices that act in a lot of ways more like a pharmaceutical product. And as a result of that, when you compare with the pharmaceutical products, the margins are way less than that. So you're talking about, at least 20 percentage points less gross margin than a pharmaceutical player would see. And probably from an EBITDA perspective, also similarly lower margins, probably by 20 percentage points. This has been this macro question about interventional medicines. The problem has been, to your point, that they have relatively low. They have device-like gross margins in that business, and very heavily the promotional costs, the commercial costs are quite high in all of their businesses, excluding their specialty pharmaceuticals business, and so. It cannot sustain very much in the way of R&D before it becomes problematic. Mm-hmm. And that's the macro issue is that, and ECHOS is probably the most acute example, but I believe that the commercial costs in ECHOS exceed 35% of net revenue, something like that. So the EBITDA contribution is not that great. In fact, in 2015, the ECHOS business was only marginally profitable.
And then the oncology business, do you remember roughly what kind of EBITDA margins? That was also marginally profitable? Or?
Yeah, there was a healthier margin in that business. I'm going to say that as I recall, the net margins in those businesses, it was more in the 15 to 20% net margin. We're talking about an EBITDA margin now.
Okay. And then the majority of the cost would be the R&D and the SG&A.
No, not SG&A. Yeah. I always like to think of S versus G&A, but S, yes, very expensive. These device products, all the device products. When you look at the compensation of sales reps, they tend to be on the high end of compensation. So we're talking about north of average target of $250,000 to $300,000 per rep. In compensation, and so they tend to be they're well compensated, and it's an expensive market, and it's very promotionally sensitive. In fact, the beads business and the echosonic business is very promotion. The growth is very promotionally sensitive.
Right, so it's also hard then to cut costs in that business if you basically need them. In order to get your sales, okay.
Yes. The difference is, I would say that, as I said, you can cut costs in the ECHOS business because once you've converted hospitals, you can cut those costs. You will suffer on the revenue growth. The question is, you can do if you do that carefully. When you fully penetrated, the market will be self-limiting. Is already self-limiting, so sort of cutting back is not going to be an issue. I can tell you that the management of that group, because I know them very, very well, are not as sensitive to that topic as I am. The revenue model for the ECHOS business, I actually built the original revenue model. So in terms of reps, yeah, and I argued for a lot more reps to actually grow more rapidly. When we added reps in 2015, 16, the model was actually they didn't contribute in